So today I'm going to show you how to make Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber hilt. So I started by taking the tube from an old roll of parchment paper, and then you want to mark out where the center of that is, and then take some 3mm craft foam, a piece that's big enough to go all the way around your tube, and you just want to glue that in place right around that center mark that you made. Do it in sections. Make sure you get it as close to the center as possible. Then take another piece of 3mm foam, almost an inch wide, and then you'll just run that around each side of the middle piece, leaving just a little bit of a gap in between each. Then cut some very thin pieces of 3mm craft foam, and you're just going to run those, leaving tiny little gaps in between them. You'll put 4 on each side, and then you'll take another one and you'll glue that around the very center, and then you'll glue one around each one of those 1-inch pieces, putting it off towards the outside, so you leave just a little bit. So you do one on each side. And then you want to take something sharp. You're just going to gouge some lines all the way around that piece in the center. You might have to go over them once or twice. So then take a 2-inch piece of 3mm craft foam. You'll just wrap that, again leaving a little gap between the tiny foam pieces before it, and put one on either side. And then finally take a small piece of 3mm craft foam and you'll wrap that around the end, again leaving a little bit of a gap, and you'll do that one on each side. So then you're going to cut a circle out of 5mm foam, and the circle should be just a little bit wider than your foam covered tube. Then you'll cut 3 pieces of cardstock the same size, then 3 pieces a little smaller, and 2 pieces of 3mm craft foam, and then 2 slightly smaller pieces of 3mm craft foam. And so then you're going to end up stacking everything. So you'll glue your 5mm piece onto one of those big pieces of cardstock, then you'll glue a smaller piece of foam, and then a larger piece of cardstock. So you're just going to alternate between the foam and the cardstock, making sure that other than the end piece, all the inside pieces of foam will be smaller than your cardstock circles. And so they'll get progressively smaller as you go down, making your little foam and cardstock sandwich. And so there you should have it. Should be a little larger on the outside and then taper down to the smaller on the inside. So you make 2 of those little sandwich stacks. So then go back to your sharp implement and make a gouge on each of those longer end pieces. And then you'll take a square of 3mm craft foam and wrap it around itself to form a thin tube. And put a little bit of glue on the end of that, and that should squish right inside your cardboard tube, leaving it stick out about 1.5 inches or so. And then put a little bit of hot glue on the end of that, and glue that right onto your stack of craft foam and cardstock. And then you're going to take a thin piece and put a little bit of glue on the very end of it, glue that onto the cardboard that's showing there, and then you'll put a little bit more glue on the other end of it and glue that down onto your foam tube to make kind of a not quite straight little piece, and you'll do that all the way around at even intervals, so it goes all the way around the circle there. And then of course you'll do the exact same thing on the other end of the lightsaber so that both ends of your lightsaber hilt look the same. And then I cut a bunch of little circles out of 5mm craft foam, and you're just going to glue 2 onto each of those sections. And then you want to put a couple little dots of glue over on the outside edge of one of the sections, and you're going to put 2 tiny little seed beads right in the little dots of glue. You'll put 1 flat and 1 standing kind of on end. And you'll do that to all 4 of the sections, so they all go on the outside and then they're not quite in alignment. One is on the kind of the top side and then the other 2 are on the bottom side. And so then I cut another circle. It's a little bit bigger than the other ones, and you just want to glue that on the bottom. Again, that's 5mm craft foam. And then you'll go back to your sharp implement, and you're going to draw a couple of rectangles in line with your little seed beads. So of course they'll be on slightly different sides of the lightsaber because the beads are as well, but those little rectangles. So then you want to coat the entire thing with some Elmer's glue. You want to give that about 3 coats. And when all 3 coats are dry, you'll give it a coat of black paint. And then once the black paint is dry, you'll give it a coat of metallic silver paint. You want to go kind of sparing because you want a little bit of the black to show through to make it look worn. And so then you'll just take some red and you'll do each of the outside of the buttons. So the 2 on the outside and then the 2 on the outside the other way. And then on each end, you want to paint a black circle with some metallic black paint. And you'll do that to both ends. And then you'll fill in any of the low spots with black paint, the metallic black paint. And then the ridges also get done with the black paint, so you can see in between, that's all black, and then the ridges are black, and then all the gouges are black. So just look at his lightsaber to see where to put these kind of. And then I coated the whole thing with gloss varnish to make it a little less sticky. Oh, that's not good. And so that is the lightsaber tutorial. If you've ever taken one of those lightsaber quizzes, leave me a comment below and let me know what kind of lightsaber you usually end up with.